In this lesson, we're going to learn the long L stance. And this is also sometimes called a fixed stance. So basically, if you have a regular L stance, which is like this, feet are about shoulder width apart in length, a long L stance, and of course weight shifted back about 60-70% on your rear leg in an L stance. For long L stance, you're basically taking a step forward, so about 1 foot length forward. So it's about the length of your foot longer than a regular L stance. And now your weight shifts to be 50-50 on both legs. So now you're no longer sunk backward, you're now 50-50 weight distribution. So this is a really comfortable stance to be in. So again, it's slightly wider than a regular L stance, but the big difference is that it's your foot length longer than a regular L stance, and 50-50 on weight distribution. So once again, the body is still half facing, so we're not side facing like this, we're not full facing the opponent, just like a regular L stance, half facing. So your opponent is still over here like this. But the reason why we use long L stance is because it gives us some extra reach for certain techniques that we're going to be doing. So when you're sunk back on the back leg all the time, it's more difficult to generate power, for example, on reverse middle punch. So the first use that you're going to see of long L stance when it comes up in the patterns is going to be for the reverse middle punch. Specifically because you need to have your body weight coming forward to generate power into that technique. And it gives you a little bit of extra reach. If you're in a regular L stance and you're sunk back like this, you don't get as far forward as you do like this. So if I show from the side, this would be L stance here with the hips sunk down and your weight on your back foot. As soon as I shift to a long L stance, you can see the difference right there, how much more reach I have coming forward. So there are techniques coming up, there's other ones that you haven't learned yet that you're going to see that are done almost exclusively in a long L stance. And now, when you practice the foundation movements in L stance, and we're doing reverse middle punch, by all means, feel free to step forward and do a long L stance on those reverse middle punches, because you can really drive it in, you can really get maximum power on those techniques. So you don't have to do regular L stance when you're coming forward and doing reverse middle punch. By all means, drive it in and get that extra reach and that extra power on your reverse middle punches in L stance from this time going forward. So when we do L stance foundation movements, do those techniques in a long L stance. So that is long L stance, sometimes called a fixed stance. But just remember the important difference. It's a little bit longer than a regular L stance, and your weight is 50-50. So you're no longer sunk backward like you are in a regular L stance. So, till the next lesson.